Yo, what is going on, boobs and dudes? This is X11 Yoda here, coming at you guys with the first episode for my lore series. Now, if you don't know what lore is, it's basically when you kind of talk about different comic books and you talk about the plot and the characters and stuff like that, and it's a very opinionative series. Well, I'm going to make it a very opinionative series because really the reason why I have a YouTube channel is because I want to, talk about my opinions and my thoughts on things, and if I'm not expressing my opinion, I don't really see the point in having a YouTube channel. So anyway, guys, like I said, this is a very opinionative series, so if you have a different opinion from me, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, and we can go ahead and talk about it and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get right into this. I thought the best way to start off this series would be talking about the best Batman comics. Now, like I said, these are my opinion. If you think that there are anything that I missed, any comic books that I missed, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, like I said. So let's go ahead and get right into this. It would be impossible for me to make this video without talking about The Dark Knight Returns. I mean, The Dark Knight Returns is probably the most critically acclaimed Batman story out there, and it's actually one of the main, I guess you can say, inspirations for the new Batman vs. Superman movie. I mean, Frank Miller is the guy who reinvented Batman as a character. The Dark Knight Returns is responsible for the way Batman is now. I mean, he's just responsible for, how the character has come to be and everything that he is. The evolution of Batman is, he's kind of like the Darwin of Batman, I guess you can say, Frank Miller is. And I mean, it's just an absolutely amazing story. And when you hear people talk about this story, they mainly talk about the fourth issue, which is when Batman and Superman go at it, and it's just an amazing fight. I think the most surprising thing about the fight is the fact that Batman actually ends up winning. Everyone knows that Superman can just incinerate Batman in like 2 seconds, but everyone also knows that that's just not something Superman would do, and Batman knows that, so he comes up with this like insane plan that involves like Oliver Queen and a kryptonite arrow, and he ends up beating Superman. And the quote that he says at the end, I want you to remember my hand at your throat, I want you to remember the one man who beat you. If if Zack Snyder does not have that in Batman vs. Superman, I am just gonna cry. I am just gonna straight up cry because it's an awesome quote. So yeah, when people talk about Batman, I'm pretty sure that The Dark Knight Returns comes up 8 out of 10 times because it's just an amazing story, and if you haven't read it, please do, because you are missing out on some great storytelling. The next story on my list is not actually a story, but it's the New 52 itself. I know the New 52 is a little bit of a controversial topic in the comic book community, but I personally think that Batman is one of the good things about the New 52. Scott Snyder is just doing an excellent job writing Batman, and his first, I want to say 5 story arcs were probably his best work. I'm in the middle of Endgame right now, so I can't really talk about some of the later story arcs in the series, but the early story arcs are excellent. Zero Year is very good, but specifically, I'd have to say The Court of Owls is what you should read. It's just a very good story, and I think it's one of Scott Snyder's best. I don't think he's going to top it anytime soon. I don't know, when I finish Endgame, I might say that Endgame is the best in the New 52, but I have to say that right now, Court of Owls is just excellent, and you need to read it. Next on my list is, again, another Frank Miller story, which is Batman Year One. Now, Frank Miller has wrote, I guess you could say, the gospel for Batman. He wrote the Alpha and he wrote the Omega, which is Batman Year One and The Dark Knight Returns. One thing that I will say about Batman Year One is the font that they use for some of the writing. I don't know what it was, but I found myself, squinting when I was reading it sometimes. It's just difficult to read. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the artwork. David Mazzucchelli did an excellent job with it, and he really did a great job kind of capturing what Frank Miller was trying to, really, I guess you could say, working in tandem is what I'm trying to say with Frank Miller, and he did an excellent job at that. But the font, I don't know who decided on the font, but it was really not that great. But the story itself was excellent, one of the best Batman stories out there. And plus, if you ask me, Zero Year in the New 52 was great, but it cannot beat Year One. It's a classic. Year One is a classic, and sometimes you just can't beat the classics, man. I don't really want to say too much about this next story, which is Batman Hush, because Batman Hush is one of those stories that has so many like twists and turns and mysteries to it that, if you read a mystery novel, you don't want the mystery to be spoiled for you. So I don't really want to say too much about the story, but I will say that it's one of those Catwoman-Batman love stories, which is the main focus of the story, and it's incredible. I absolutely love the Batman and Catwoman relationship. It's one of my favorite couples in comics, and I think that Jeff Loeb just did an excellent job kind of getting the relationship and the chemistry between the two. And also, I mean, who can forget Jim Lee's eye candy artwork? Anything Jim Lee touches is absolutely incredible. Actually, there was this one Superman story, I think it's called Superman, the Man for Tomorrow or something like that, and Brian Azzarello wrote it, and it was not a very good story, but the fact that Jim Lee wrote it is the only reason why I actually like that story. But anyway, guys, that is one of the best stories out there, Batman Hush. Absolutely incredible. If you have not read it, please do, because you are, again, missing out on one of the best Batman stories. Alright guys, so that wraps up my first lore episode. If you guys enjoyed it, by all means, leave a comment down below telling me what your favorite Batman stories are, and go ahead and leave a like. If you guys want to check out my last video, it's an Injustice Guides Among Us Let's Play. Go ahead and click on that thumbnail right there. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make another episode talking about this topic, because there are just so many Batman stories out there that I can talk about that I love. So if you guys want to see that, leave me a comment down below. Anyway, guys, have a good day. Peace.